yesterday and has seen, and those protesters not the only ones unhappy with the latest GOP bill. Republican Senator Susan Collins confirming yesterday she will not vote in favor of the Graham-Cassidy bill, joining Senators John McCain, Ted Cruz, Rand Paul, essentially making this bill dead on arrival. But is there a path forward? Let's bring in Patrice Lee Onwuka. She's a senior policy analyst at the Independent Women's Forum. Patrice, good morning.
Good morning.
What is the next step, if there is one, with regards to health care? This seems like it's pretty much done.
I mean, I think we'll see some scrambling over the next few days to see if there's anything that can be done to woo some of these senators and to regain their votes. It's very unlikely, though, and we may be back to the drawing board. As we know, September 30th is the deadline to use a reconciliation process to kind of get the repeal and replace done. And I think it's tough for both Congress as well as for the administration. President Trump has been putting forth his best efforts up to this point to say, hey, we need to hold true to a promise to provide some relief to Americans who've been struggling under Obamacare.
Well, I mean, there was a tweet. We talked about this earlier in the show, but, you got this tweet from the president. He has no problem using Twitter as a bully pulpit. We've learned that about this president. And this is what he said about, he put up clips from John McCain, a few of the many clips of John McCain talking about repealing and replacing Obamacare. My, oh my, has he changed, complete turn from years of talk. This is the first shot at President Trump, from President Trump towards the senator. It may not be the last, though, Patrice.
No, I think President Trump saw Senator McCain as, a sore, kind of a poke in his side earlier in the summer and coming back again. And it is ironic, though, that so many of these members of Congress have run on repealing and replacing Obamacare. What is interesting, though, and there may be a little bit of hope we'll see, is with Senator Rand Paul. I think he was interested in repealing some of those Obamacare taxes and ensuring that insurance companies were not getting, big subsidies. And maybe there's some wiggle room there if this bill is able to repeal some of those taxes. Maybe he might come on board. We'd have to see.
Well, it's interesting because Senator Collins came out and made her statement after the CBO report came out, and all we saw was that the CBO basically said, look, this is going to those with coverage that's going to decrease, costs are going to rise. It was the CBO had to do a pretty quick analysis of this. By the way, she was also complaining, Patrice, that the Republicans, this was the fourth version of this bill. They were doing another version over the weekend. So she kind of has a point. How am I supposed to make an informed decision on something which is health care if I'm getting, 4 different versions and I can't keep up with all these changes, which, by the way, we're getting more and more expensive?
Yeah, I mean, what's interesting is that now Democrats are, pointing probably rightly to Republicans saying you're trying to rush this through, which is a pretty major piece of legislation without a lot of discussion, particularly on this most recent bill. So there may be something to that. But at the end of the day, I think we've come to the point where this is a pretty good opportunity to get repeal and replace done. Not a perfect bill, but certainly an effort to try to get something done. And there are obviously also lots of future measures that can be taken.
They're trying.
They're trying. I just don't see it happening. And what's funny with the CBO, they're pointing to the loss of people who are don't have the personal mandate anymore. So they're going to drop out of Obamacare. You've got the Medicaid expansion rollback. So you've got people who, may not have as much coverage. So we are not that surprised that the CBO is going to say millions of people would not have coverage.
Okay.
The CBO did say, though, that there would be a lot of savings. That's at least a bright spot.
Okay. I like the possibility. I've only got a few seconds with you. I got to ask you, though, about Alabama. We're watching this Republican runoff for the Senate, for the Sessions Senate seat. What's going on with the party? You've got Bannon, who's out there supporting Roy Moore, and then, President Trump supporting Stray. I mean, this seems like a dangerous game that's being played in Alabama.
Well, it may be a referendum on President Trump, but you do have the core Trump supporters kind of being split between these two candidates. What it's going to come down to is really turnout, and the turnout is in favor, of Strange, of Moore, who actually led coming into the first primary. So he came in first. So if Strange is able to get people out to vote, then that's going to work.
It's a wild story, and we're going to be covering, of course, tomorrow. Patrice, thank you so much.
Sure, thank you.
It's just wild.